Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday Kenya Kwaza held their parliamentary group meeting at State House in Nairobi. And I did a comprehensive analysis about that particular meeting. In case you missed it, you can check that video below. And just like I predicted, the media is reporting that the meeting was actually explosive. That Kenya Kwaza members of parliament confronted William Ruto over the high cost of living, which is making life very difficult for them on the ground. The ground is hostile and there's nothing they can even tell their constituents. And they pleaded with William Ruto to at least lower the cost of fuel. But William Ruto would not listen to any of them. And again, they were wondering why the cost of fuel was reducing in neighboring countries like Uganda and Tanzania, while in Kenya, the cabinet secretary is projecting an increase in the cost. I don't want to get into that for now. Maybe we'll do a proper analysis again on that. But in this video, I want us to do a critical analysis about Rigathi Gachagua's latest strategy that is using to ensure that William Ruto will be left with no option but to choose him as a running mate again. Because for those who've been following the politics of this country, there has been these talks that William Ruto is planning to change the running mate, that is not going to appoint Rigathi Gachagua, that is now working very closely with Musalia Mudavadi, and that he has promised the leaders from the Western region that is going to hand over the presidency to Musalia Mudavadi, and therefore Musalia Mudavadi is going to be his running mate. Rigathi Gachagua is not an ordinary politician. The fact that Rigathi Gachagua could outsmart a veteran politician like Professor Kithure Kindiki could outsmart Moses Kuria to be William Ruto's running mate in 2022 means Rigathi Gachagua is not a pushover. Because by that time, Rigathi Gachagua was just a mere first-time member of parliament for Mathira.
And the deputy president under the Kenya Kwaza alliance will also perform real duties that will be assigned to him by the president. I say this because it is important that every constitutional office must work for the people of Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, that good Kenyan, my friend, whom I have worked with, especially on the economic model that now has famously been referred to the bottom-up economic model. And we started that journey together. He understands people issues. He is passionate about ordinary people. My friend, I present to you the Kenya Kwaza running mate candidate, my brother and friend, Rigathi Gachagua.
He emerged from nowhere and became William Ruto's running mate.
And the nexus between me and Rigathi Gachagua is the people. He believes in bottom-up the way I do. And that is why I chose Rigathi Gachagua to work with me.
Now, on the 14th of May and even the 15th, there was a lot of talk coming out of this place about what was going on as you met with the various teams here and eventually came up with the running mate. And there was talk that basically everybody else favored someone else and you overruled them.
Well, those are stories. You know, there were many opinions. I had about 5 people I was looking at. And I took time to ask friends, to ask members of my party, and to ask other stakeholders what they thought, and I engaged them because I believe in consultation. And I took time to consult, and the outcome, as you have seen, was finally Rigathi Gachagua.
And at some point, I even remember Raila Odinga wondering how Rigathi Gachagua was made the running mate or the vice president or the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya for that matter. And the truth of the matter is that at some point, William Ruto had succeeded in isolating Rigathi Gachagua. He had succeeded in raising the profile of Musalia Mudavadi. But Rigathi Gachagua has decided to fight back. So I want to reveal to you guys Rigathi Gachagua's latest strategies. But before we do that, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, allow me to dive in. Ladies and gentlemen, what are some of the strategies that Rigathi Gachagua is currently using to ensure that he will be the automatic running mate again in 2022? If you've been following Rigathi Gachagua, these are some of his strategies. Number one, Rigathi Gachagua is currently mobilizing Mount Kenya members of parliament to his side. And the truth of the matter is that just in Kiambu over the weekend, Rigathi Gachagua was able to bring together over 30 members of parliament from Mount Kenya and some from Rift Valley to his side. That was a very strong statement. And the fact that Rigathi Gachagua can marshal that kind of numbers, it means it's not a pushover. I am not sure, if you ask me, I'm not sure whether Musalia Mudavadi can actually manage to mobilize that kind of a crowd. Because the other day, Musalia Mudavadi was in, he hosted some event in Malava constituency, which in my view was being organized on his behalf by William Ruto, because Farouk Kibet was the chief guest at that event. And the members of parliament could not reach that level. Rigiji managed to bring together 30 members of parliament. Rigathi Gachagua has been able to bring to Kenya Kwaza the former Jubilee members of parliament, the rebel Jubilee members of parliament from the mountain. Rigathi Gachagua has been able to now take charge of members of parliament from Mount Kenya. So it means for William Ruto, it's not going to be easy for him. Because the truth is, William Ruto has preference for Mudavadi, he has preference for Ndindi Nyoro. Even Moses Kuria is out of the question, if you ask me. But Ndindi Nyoro, I doubt if he can mobilize that huge number from the mountain. So Rigathi Gachagua is doing that. So Ruto will have no option. Number two, Rigathi Gachagua is also busy playing the Mount Kenya cards. You know, if you remove Mount Kenya from William Ruto, what are his numbers? And that's why Rigathi Gachagua was passionate about the shareholding. The truth of the matter is that he's doing that to remind the mountain that we voted for this government. But from the way things are, they're not doing things the way we want. So by playing that Mount Kenya card, William Ruto is being pushed into a very tight corner. A corner where he will not be able to actually get out of. Because assuming today William Ruto were to decide that he's having Musalia Mudavadi as his running mate, then Rigiji decides, I'm going for the presidency, or he decides, I'm throwing my weight behind Kalonzo Musyoka. So if that were to happen, because it can actually happen, it would be a very interesting politics to follow in this country. So Mount Kenya cards is being played. And that's why Rigiji is even trying to bring on board Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta.
From where I sit, my boss, President William Ruto, and I, the elections are over. And we want all Kenyans to be one team, to be one people for the development of this country. this region, during the last election, we were divided to a certain extent. 87% voted for President William Ruto and I, 13% exercised their democratic right as it should be and voted the other way. But now elections are over. I have on record inviting the 13% to come we work together for our region, for our country, because there is no enmity, there is no quarrel, there is nothing. The election is just like a sport, and you shouldn't take it beyond there.
His third strategy, which I think he borrowed from Moi, is to play loyalty card. Let me ask you, can you accuse Rigathi Gachagua of insubordinating William Ruto in any way? Can you accuse Rigathi Gachagua of not being loyal to William Ruto? You can't. Because he's tried so hard, because this is a former deal, he's tried so hard, Rigathi has tried so hard to be loyal servant. So which means if anything were to happen, then he will win the sympathy vote. He will say, inyewe huyu jamaa, this guy was loyal. He did everything for Ruto. And that is something that very rare politician can actually do. Just displaying loyalty, even when it's clear that it's being fought. And he has done that successfully. And number 4, if you ask me, of late, Rigathi Gachagua has started charting his own political path. His 4th strategy, if you ask me, is that Rigathi Gachagua has now decided to chart his own political path away from William Ruto's shadows. Because previously, Rigathi Gachagua was just behind William Ruto at every step. Of late, Rigathi Gachagua decided to do 2 things. The first thing he decided to do was to stop following William Ruto. Of course, that was strategic in a way because he wanted to protest. But importantly, he also decided to do that so that he could start charting his own political path. Like, for example, you've seen Rigathi Gachagua in Kiambu. The other day he was in Nyeri. The other day he brought together the Mount Kenyan leaders and businessmen to some major event in Nyeri. So he's trying to chart his own political path away from William Ruto's shadows so that he's going to be seen as his own man. Because before that, if you look at Rigathi Gachagua's political history, it's nothing much. The brother was the governor for Nyeri. Was the former member of parliament for Madira, became the governor for Nyeri. Then, when the brother died, he got that limelight, and of course, he later on decided to run for the member of parliament. He's now trying to chart his own political path so that when he holds an event, then it's an event of Rigathi Gachagua. And for me, that is something that is going to work for him. Because apart from Rigathi Gachagua, which other politician from Kenya Kwaza is charting his own political path? Musalia Mudavadi is being, his profile is being raised, but politically in the Luhya nation, he's no longer holding events. Within the political circles, he can't play politics. Of course, he's been meeting, including meeting with the all foreign missions in the Republic of Kenya. But if you ask me, no, he's not doing anything. So Rigathi Gachagua is charting his own political path. And why do you think he's charting his own political path? In case there's a problem, he can stand on his own, he can push things on his own, he can have his own team. And number 5, I think the fact that he's now appearing as the voice of the mountain is also something that he's using to ensure that he aligns himself with the political issues of the mountain. Like, of late, there's this talk of 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling. That talk is gaining currency. And I'm sure Rigathi Gachagua, because William Ruto doesn't want it, I am sure very soon Rigathi Gachagua will start pushing for 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling. Because by talking the voice of the mountain, that's the only way he can be embraced in the mountain. And lastly, Rigathi Gachagua is also taking the war right to the doorsteps of the perceived opponent. If William Ruto is telling him, do not do not convene meeting of leaders from the mountain, he's doing it. If Musalia Mudavadi is telling him, okay, he's doing all those things. So basically, Rigathi Gachagua is taking the war to the doorstep of every other person who he believes is his opponent. The other day he was in Kiambu. Why? He wanted to take the war to Moses Kuria's doorstep. I don't know what you think. Do you think Rigathi Gachagua will be able to thwart any attempt to lock him from the running mate? For me, William Ruto will have no option but to have Rigathi Gachagua. I don't know what you think. That's my take. Until next time, Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye.